darkness stretched across the ruins of a dead world. Once, tall crystal towers had touched the skies here, filled with voices, laughter, and songs of a proud alien race. Now, nothing remained but silence, broken walls, and shadows moving in the cold wind. Among those ruins walked one girl. She was young, fragile-looking, yet her glowing silver eyes told another story. A story of loss, of survival, and of endless loneliness. She was the last of her kind. Every step she took echoed in the hollow streets. Her people were gone, hunted down by enemies who wanted nothing more than their extinction. Families, friends, children, all had vanished. Only she remained, and with her remained a secret that no one else carried. The survival of her entire species depended on her. At night, she would sit under the shattered remains of a once great temple. She would whisper the names of her ancestors, hoping the stars would hear her voice. But the stars gave no answer. Every day her hope weakened, yet she refused to give up. Far above, she had seen human ships crossing the skies. To her, humans were outsiders, strange creatures who came from the blue world called Earth. Yet in their faces, she had noticed something she had not seen in many others. Compassion. The same compassion her own people once believed in. Now, as the cold wind wrapped around her, the alien girl's heart carried one desperate thought. She could not let her species die with her. She needed help, and she would beg for it, even if it meant giving everything she had left. In the distance, a light flickered. Not the cold fire of ruins, but a campfire, burning warm against the night. She froze. A human had landed on this dead world. Alone, unaware of her presence. Her silver eyes narrowed. For the first time in years, she felt a strange mix of fear and hope, and with that, her destiny began to change. The human explorer had set up camp at the edge of the ruins. His ship, a small scout vessel, rested nearby with its lights blinking faintly in the dark. He sat by the fire, studying strange stones and artifacts he had collected from the ruins, unaware that unseen eyes were watching him. From the shadows, the alien girl observed. Her heart pounded. She had not spoken to another living being for years. She had forgotten the warmth of a voice, the comfort of company. Yet now, here was a human, alone, vulnerable, and within reach. But fear chained her. What if he rejected her? What if he feared her? She was not like him. Her glowing skin, her silver eyes, her strange aura. Humans might see her as a monster. The firelight flickered across his face. He looked tired but kind, his movements careful, almost gentle. He hummed a quiet tune to himself, unaware that his soft song was pulling her closer. Her bare feet moved silently over broken stones. Every step was a battle between hope and fear. She hid behind a shattered column, close enough now to hear his breath, close enough to feel the heat of the fire. The human's head snapped up suddenly. His eyes scanned the ruins. He had felt it, the weight of a presence near him. His hand reached slowly for the plasma pistol at his side. The girl froze. If she stepped out now, it could mean life or death. Her breath caught. For a moment, the world seemed to hold still. The fire crackled. The wind whispered through broken towers, and two lives stood on the edge of fate. The human rose to his feet, eyes locked on the shadows. "Who's there?" he called out, his voice firm but not cruel. The girl's lips trembled. She had waited her whole life for this moment, yet the words would not come. She wanted to answer, but silence gripped her throat. Instead, she retreated into the darkness, heart racing. She would watch him longer, learn more before she dared to reveal herself. The human frowned, scanning the ruins once more, before slowly lowering his weapon. He shook his head and returned to the fire, though unease still lingered in his eyes. From the shadows, her gaze remained fixed on him. For the first time in years, the alien girl felt the faint spark of hope. But hope was dangerous, and she knew this was only the beginning. The human awoke before dawn. The fire had burned low, and the ruins around him were cloaked in mist. He packed his gear, ready to explore deeper into the dead city. But again, that feeling returned, the sense of being watched. This time, he did not ignore it. He placed his hand on his pistol and called softly into the mist. "I know you're there. Come out." The silence stretched. Then, from behind a fallen pillar, she stepped forward. For the first time, the human saw her. Her figure was slim, fragile, but her silver eyes glowed faintly in the fog. Her skin shimmered like moonlight against the ruins. She looked otherworldly, breathtaking, and broken. The human froze, stunned. She raised her hands, showing she carried no weapon. Her voice was soft, trembling, yet filled with desperate strength. "Please, don't be afraid." Her words were broken, learned from listening to human voices carried through the skies. But they were clear enough. The man lowered his pistol slowly, his eyes narrowing in surprise. He had never seen anything like her. "Who are you?" he asked. Tears welled in her glowing eyes. Her voice cracked as she spoke. "I am the last of my people. I have nothing left. Nothing, except one hope." She stepped closer, her bare feet leaving light marks in the dust. The human did not move, caught between caution and pity. Her lips trembled as she whispered the words that had burned inside her for years. "Please, save my kind. Cannot do it alone. I beg you." The human's heart tightened. He had expected danger, maybe an ambush, but not this. Not a plea so raw, so desperate. She fell to her knees before him, lowering her head. "My people are gone. If I die, they die forever. But with you, with your help, we can live again." The weight of her words hung heavy in the mist. The human stood still, unsure if this was madness or destiny. His instincts screamed caution, but something in her voice, her sorrow, her desperation, felt too real to ignore. For the first time in years, the alien girl had spoken her truth aloud. Her heart raced. Her future now rested in the hands of a stranger. And the human realized his life had just changed forever. The human did not move at first. Her words echoed in his mind, heavy with meaning. "Save my kind." He studied her closely, the trembling in her voice, the tears shining in her strange eyes. This was not a trick. This was not an ambush. It was something far heavier. He crouched down, lowering his weapon fully now. "Tell me," he said quietly, "what happened to your people?" The girl lifted her face, and for the first time, the human saw the full sorrow etched in her features. "My world," she began, her voice breaking, "was once alive. My people were proud, peaceful, and full of light. We built cities that touched the skies. We sang songs that reached the stars." Her silver eyes flickered as if reflecting memories. "But others feared us. They called us dangerous. They envied what we had. They came with fire and metal. They hunted us down like animals." She clutched her chest, as if the memory itself burned her. "I watched my family, my friends, all vanish. Their screams still haunt me, and now I am the last, the only blood of my kind still alive." The human felt a chill. He had seen war, had heard of species wiped out, but never stood face to face with the survivor of one. The girl reached out with shaking hands, as if trying to grasp something invisible. "My people carried a secret gift, a way to pass down our life, our essence. It still lives in me, but it is not enough. Alone, I cannot carry the burden. My blood will end, unless—" She hesitated, her cheeks flushing faintly as shame and desperation fought within her. "Unless I join with another. Unless I find a way to continue the line." The human's eyes widened. He understood now what she had meant by her plea. It wasn't only about survival, it was about rebirth. About her species' very existence. Her voice dropped to a whisper, fragile as glass. "You are the first human I have seen alone, away from the armies, away from the wars. I beg you, help me, not for me, but for all who came before me, for all who could still come after." The ruins around them seemed to grow quieter, as if even the broken stones waited for his answer. The human's heart pounded. In that moment, he realized he wasn't just standing before a lost girl. He was standing at the edge of history, of a choice that could shape the future of two species. The ruins had fallen into silence after her revelation, but the human's instincts stirred uneasily. Years of traveling through hostile worlds had taught him one thing: silence was never safe. And he was right. From the dark horizon, faint lights flickered. Machines, drones. Their red eyes glowed like predators in the night. The girl's breath caught as she saw them. "They found me," she whispered, terror flooding her voice. The human stiffened. "Who?" "The hunters," she said, her hands trembling. "The ones who destroyed my people. They never stopped searching. They want me gone, to erase every trace of my kind." The drones moved quickly, scanning the ruins, their weapons humming with lethal energy. The human's pulse raced. There was no time for questions now. He drew his blaster and pulled the girl behind the crumbling wall. "Stay low," he ordered, but she shook her head. "No, I won't run again." Before he could stop her, her silver eyes glowed brighter. She raised her hand, and a ripple of strange light surged through the air. The nearest drone froze mid-flight, its circuits crackling before it crashed to the ground, lifeless. The human stared in shock. She wasn't defenseless. She carried a power unlike anything he had seen before. The other drones swarmed, their red beams slicing through stone. The human fired shot after shot, explosions lighting the ruins. The girl fought beside him, her energy rippling through the air, shorting their circuits, bending their weapons. But there were too many. For every drone that fell, more emerged from the mist. The human gritted his teeth, shielding the girl as debris rained around them. He had faced danger before, but this was different. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about protecting the last hope of an entire species. The girl's voice broke through the chaos. "You don't have to stay. If you leave me, you'll live. But if you stay, they'll kill you too." The human looked at her, chest heaving, determination burning in his eyes. "Then I guess we fight together." Side by side, human and alien stood against the storm of metal and fire. She had powers beyond his understanding, and he had courage beyond hers. Together, they struck back, every blast and every surge of light carrying the weight of survival. For the first time since her world had burned, the alien girl wasn't alone in the fight. And for the first time in his long journeys, the human realized he finally had something worth fighting for. Smoke still hung heavy in the ruins. Broken drone parts sparked faintly across the ground. Their red eyes dimmed forever. The human wiped sweat from his brow, his blaster hot in his hands. His chest rose and fell in ragged breaths. Beside him, the alien girl sank to her knees, her silver glow flickering weakly. The power she had used had drained her. For a moment, the human thought she might collapse completely. He knelt beside her, steadying her with his hand. "You're safe," he said quietly. "We made it." Her glowing eyes lifted to meet his. For the first time in years, she felt something she thought had died with her people: safety. She whispered, almost in disbelief, "You stayed. You didn't leave me." The human gave a faint smile. "I don't leave people behind." Her chest tightened. Simple words, yet they carried more meaning than he could ever know. Her own kind had been abandoned, betrayed, hunted. And now a stranger, someone not of her blood, not of her world, had chosen to stand with her. They moved deeper into the ruins, finding shelter inside a half-collapsed hall. There, the human lit another small fire. The warmth pushed back the cold night air. The girl sat across from him, her eyes studying his every movement. She watched the way he carefully cleaned his weapon, the way his hand occasionally brushed the locket he wore around his neck. He noticed her gaze and, after a long silence, opened the locket to show her a faded picture of his lost crew. "They were my family," he said softly. "Gone now, just me left." Her breath caught. She understood his pain too well. Two survivors from two different worlds, both carrying the weight of extinction. For a long time, they sat in silence, only the fire crackling between them. Yet it was not an empty silence. It was filled with something new: trust, connection. a bond slowly taking shape. The girl finally spoke, her voice fragile but steady. My people believed that every life was a song. When two lives came together, a new song was born. Maybe we can write a new song together. The human looked into her glowing eyes. For the first time, he saw not just desperation in them, but hope. And as the firelight danced across the broken walls, he realized this wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about a future, one neither of them had dared to dream of until now. Dawn broke slowly over the ruins, painting the shattered towers in pale gold. The human and the alien girl sat in silence, watching the first light touch the broken city. For one brief moment, it almost felt peaceful. But peace never lasted. The ground trembled. From the skies, larger ships descended, black, metallic predators blotting out the morning sun. The hunters had returned, this time in greater numbers. The drones had only been scouts. Now, the real army had come to finish what they had started. The girl's silver eyes widened with fear. She grabbed the human's arm. They won't stop. If they take me, it's over. My people, everything, gone forever. The human clenched his jaw. He had fought wars before, had faced hopeless battles, but never had the weight of an entire species rested on his shoulders. The hunters' ships opened fire, sending waves of destruction through the ruins. The ground shook as flames erupted. The human pulled her close, shielding her with his body as debris crashed around them. We can't fight them all, he shouted over the roar. Tears streaked her glowing cheeks. Then leave me. Save yourself. You don't have to share my fate. The human looked at her, stunned. After everything, the pleading, the fight, the bond they had built, she was still ready to sacrifice herself to save him. And in that moment, he made his choice. He tightened his grip on her hand. No, I don't run. Not from this. Not from you. With fierce determination, he activated his ship's emergency beacon. The small scout vessel roared to life, its defenses sparking. Together, they fought their way through the firestorm, covering each other. Her powers bending energy fields, his aim cutting down enemies with brutal precision. At last, they stumbled aboard his ship, battered but alive. As the engines roared and the vessel lifted into the skies, the hunter's fleet swarmed behind. But the human didn't look back. Inside the cockpit, the girl leaned against him, her glowing eyes filled with both fear and hope. You chose me, she whispered. He nodded firmly. I chose life. Yours. And maybe a future worth fighting for. For the first time in years, the alien girl smiled through her tears. A fragile smile, but one filled with something her people had lost long ago, hope. And as the stars opened before them, two survivors, one human, one alien, carried with them the fragile seed of a new beginning. The choice had been made, and it would change the galaxy forever.